They're on their way to meet the Lord, and they run into a storm. The disciples, they're on the eastern shore of the northern part of the Sea of Galilee, where the miracle of the feeding of the 5,000 has just taken place, and they're now trying to row back to Capernaum, and to do that merely meant to parallel the northern shore all the way back. And so the text tells us that they're rowing across the northern tip of the lake, which means that they would have never been too far from the shore. For John indicates that they expected to meet Jesus somewhere along the shore way before the dark settled in. But in that section of the country, the wind almost invariably blows from the north, out of the mountains of Lebanon and Mount Hermon, down the valley, across the sea, toward the south. And as dark settled in, the disciples were rowing and they were pushing to get across to Capernaum, but the wind was driving them further to the south, further away from the shore, so that they were not going to make it to the shore. They were trying to go north, but the wind made them go away from the shore. They were trying to go north, but the wind was pushing them to the south. Have you ever been trying to go north and the wind just pushed you? I wish I had a witness this morning. I mean, have you ever been trying to get somewhere and there were obstacles in your way and there were forces in your way that were pushing you away from where the Lord was trying to get you? Have you ever been looking for Jesus, but the winds of adversity blocked your view? The Bible says that the sea was rough and the wind was strong. In other words, the disciples were catching it from all directions. I mean, they had a rough sea beneath them. They had a strong wind on top of them. All hell was breaking loose inside of them. And somebody today, you know what it is like to be doing right, and here comes a storm. I mean, you know what it's like to be to do right, and then here comes a storm out of nowhere. I mean, there's at least two of you in the building today. You know what it's like to be handling your business, and out of nowhere, here pops up a storm. I know there has to be about three of y'all in the building. You were just trying to follow the Lord, and you ran into the middle of a storm. I mean, you were just trying to study the word and show yourself approved, and lo and behold, you run into some type of storm. I mean, you were just trying to do what's right, to work, to be faithful, and mind your own business, and all of a sudden, am I on anybody's street? The storm didn't find you. You ended up finding the storm. And let me tell you, if God directed you to the storm, God will direct you through the storm. God will bring you through the storm. I've learned that there is a purpose. There is a purpose, Reverend Akers. There is a purpose that's going to come out of every storm we go through. For God is not taking you through the storm without something good coming out of the storm for you. The disciples were just doing what they were told to do. Jesus told them to get into the boat and go to the other side. For the disciples, they were looking for Jesus. But events, y'all know events will come, events will happen. They're doing what the Lord told them to do, and events pushed them further away from where he was. And in that moment, God taught the disciples, and he's teaching us, that you may not be able to control events outside of you, but you can control what's happening inside of you. Somewhere between our darkness and our storm, we have to learn to not just wait on God, but we have to learn to wait in God. That means that even while the event is storming around you, we have to know that God is going to cover you to the point that what's happening around you will not affect what's happening in you. God will overpower and supersede the negative events in your life by speaking to us while we go through the negative events. The text says that Jesus spoke to the disciples while he walked on the storm. he spoke to them while he walked on the storm. And he did it all at the same time. Notice that Jesus, he spoke to them while he walked over what was working on them. He walked on the event and talked them through the event at the same time. Oh my God, that's called a 2 for the price of 1. Yeah, he walked and he talked to them at the same time. Even though the disciples ran into a great darkness and a great storm, guess what? They also ran into a great God, a God that can handle darkness and storm. And while they're going through the event, God spoke to them and said, "It is I, don't be afraid." Who am I talking to today? I mean, God sent me here to tell you, it is I. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. I'm gonna walk on what's working on you, and I'm gonna talk to you while I'm walking on it. God is gonna handle. He's gonna handle your storm. Elder Thomas, I thought about our conversation the other day about this particular text, and to be honest, I don't know if the miracle was that he walked on the event or that he talked his frightened disciples through the event, or both. At any rate, this is a miracle, y'all. For at the height of the storm, in verse 20, Jesus, he answers the disciples' fear with these words, "It is I. Don't be afraid anymore. It is I." Don't worry about what bill collectors are saying. It is I. No matter what the doctor's report is, it is I. No matter who walks out, who throws in the towel. The Lord sent me here today to tell somebody it is I. No matter who's hating on you, no matter who's loving on you, the Lord told me to tell you, it is I. And what Jesus is saying to us is that which scares the living daylights out of you, I can handle that. I can handle all of those events that are scaring you. I can handle your darkness, and I can handle your storms, and I can handle your sicknesses. I can handle financial issues. I can handle situations in your family. I've got it all under control. It is I. It's I. It's I. It's I. It's I. Thought about that. Thought about that. That whole issue of it is I, and the ramifications of that, and what that means for me and what it means for you. And example popped into my head. Example came to mind. Had an event in my childhood. The first fight I was ever in. Any of y'all ever had a schoolyard fight? First fight I was in, Elder Winston, it really wasn't even a fight. I lost. First fight, I need to be in counseling on that. It was a messed up situation. First fight I was in, Rem, I lost. I got beat. Got beat up. Got home and got beat up again. Any of y'all have any parents like that? Got beat outside, then came home, got beat, then got sent back out there to fight again. But this time the fight was different, y'all. The first time I was trying to talk to that joker and tell him, we friends and I don't want to fight, and I got to get home, and I got homework, and I got this and I got that and all of this and all of that. But this time the fight was different because I didn't say a word. I just stole on him. I stole a lick before the person could ever get ready. Well, that's what Jesus did that night on the storm. He stole the storm. Who am I talking to? You've got a God that'll take your fight seriously, and he'll steal the fight before you even have to get into the fight. That's the type of God we serve.